Are you new to the world of silver stacking? Do you want to make sure that you're doing things the right way? Then you don't want to miss these next 10 tips I have prepared for you that will help you start this journey on the right foot. If you're a seasoned vet, please make sure you help the new generation out by leaving tips and suggestions in the comment section below. Now let's get on with the list. Number 1. FOMO is very real. For those of you that don't know, FOMO stands for fear of missing out. If you're a brand new stacker, you are probably either convinced to start stacking silver by a friend, or a YouTube video, or a post on Reddit or other social media. That initial source of motivation must likely have presented a great case for silver and told you that the price was about to take off and silver is going to hit new records. Naturally, that makes you want to get a hold of as much silver as fast as possible, and that's understandable. And while I agree that silver is undervalued and the price will go up over time, there is no need to rush into it head first. The price of silver will not explode overnight and leave you missing out. That only happens perhaps once or twice in a lifetime, so you would have to be very unlucky for that to occur the next day after you decide to start collecting silver. One of the main reasons why people invest in precious metals is the fact that they are somewhat stable and reliable as a source of wealth. So while I understand you are very enthusiastic in the beginning and want to collect all the silver you can get your hands on, my advice is to step back a bit, take a breather so you don't overspend and put yourself in a tight spot. Number 2. Know why you're buying. It is very important to know what you want to buy and why. Do some self-reflection and decide on what you are trying to achieve and in what time frame, as this should dictate your purchasing pattern. If you are a prepper, it makes more sense to go for fractional silver, meaning smaller denomination coins that can be used to barter and pay for small everyday goods and services. If you want to become a collector, make sure you inform yourself first about the various coins, bars and rounds. Things like mintage and errors become very important in that case, and you want to know what you are looking out for. If you want to stack silver so that you can profit in the case of a collapse of the fiat currency or hyperinflation scenario, then just go for what is cheapest. If you want to see how I buy cheap silver, click the link that will appear in the top right of the screen. As you can see, there are various profiles of silver buyers, and you need to identify yours and focus on making the right moves for you. That being said, none of us are strictly one thing or another, so you can of course switch it up from time to time, but always prioritize your goals. If you are a stacker, for example, you can set a goal of buying 1 collector's coin or bullion for every 10 generic rounds or something along those lines. It helps keep stacking fun and not feel like a chore. Number 3. Have a budget. While silver is a very safe and relatively stable investment, it can also land you in trouble if you go into debt in order to acquire it. It is very important that you set a realistic budget for yourself and stick to it. Trust me, when the first bullion or coins will come in, you'll be super excited and enthusiastic about it, and you'll want to buy everything. And you will, but over time. Don't overextend yourself. There are many hundreds of millions or even billions of silver coins, bars and rounds out there, so there will always be a good deal to be had. Unless you find something that is borderline theft, like I once found this lot of 10 Libertads, including a 1998 one, for 400 euros after I already exhausted my month's budget. I couldn't just ignore it. Unfortunately, it was not a happy ending for me, as my PayPal app took too long and some other person completed the sale before me. I was bummed all day. Anyway, my point is, stick to your budget unless there's a deal that's too good to pass on. Don't say only one more coin, as it will never end after that one. Number 4. Buy in large batches. Regardless if you're buying primarily from a large bullion website, local coin shop, or the secondary market, you want to maximize the amount of ounces you can buy for your buck. So save up some money and try buying in larger quantities at once. Not only will you be able to take advantage of any large order discounts that many websites and shops offer, and also be able to negotiate better prices on the secondary markets, but you will also save quite a bit on the price of transportation. Even if you buy locally from the shop, you still have to put fuel in the car to get there, so it's better to do just one trip instead of 4 or 5. The price you paid for an ounce of silver is the price of that ounce once it arrived in your hand, and if you buy a coin here and there, that adds up significantly. If I added up the amount of money I spent in my first couple of months of stacking on transportation, I could probably buy another 10 or 15 ounces of silver. Number 5. Buy with your head, not your heart. Once you are exposed to the enormous universe of silver coins and rounds out there will be a lot of designs and shapes that you will fall in love with. I particularly love any piece of silver with wildlife on it, as I love animals, both contemporary and extinct. But you wouldn't know that by looking at my coin collection, as I find the premiums on those to be quite high when compared to other coins and rounds of similar size and composition. Don't go for high premium stuff, at least not in the beginning. Later, after you gather some experience and already have a sizable stack, you can try going after some higher premium pieces that you love, but remember that in an economic downturn, which is what a lot of precious metal stackers prepare for, the premiums are most likely going to be worthless, and 1 ounce of silver will be 1 ounce of silver, regardless of its design. So keep that in mind. Number 6. Test everything. The worst feeling in the world is getting duped or finding out you bought a fake. That's why I recommend testing anything you buy, regardless of where you bought it from. This is of course especially important when buying off the secondary markets. If you buy from a bullion site, make sure you read the return policy before buying anything. These policies vary from company to company, state to state, and country to country, but usually everyone has one. If you buy mainly from the secondary market, I suggest using an app or website that guarantees your right to return the item if it does not fit the description. I mainly use an app called Wallapop, and what it does is it holds the money in escrow until I receive the package and click on the All OK button. Only then does the seller get his money. I still got duped a few times, but that was my fault and not the app's. There are many ways to test silver. The easiest test you can do is using some neodymium magnets. They are inexpensive, and I'll leave an Amazon link in the description below if you want to get some. As you can see on the screen, all you need to do is tilt the coin at the 45-degree angle, or something along those lines, and the magnet should gently slide down the surface of the coin. This is due to a property of silver called diamagnetism. If the magnet either sticks to the coin or slides too quickly, then the coin is definitely not silver. Now, the problem with this method is that other metals, including copper, are diamagnetic as well, so this is not a conclusive test that guarantees the silver content. A more precise test is the so-called ping test, where you balance a coin on your fingertip and strike it gently with a wooden or plastic stick or pen and hear it ping. Silver has a very specific frequency and a long-lasting ping, and there are apps like Bullion Test and Ping Coin that you can use to find out the authenticity of your specific coin. The trouble is that there is only a relatively small number of coins in the database of these applications, so while you can test American Eagles, Type 2 Libertads, Maple Leafs, and generally the most popular bullion and coins, you cannot test every single coin, as depending on their dimension and purity, they all have a different frequency. Another popular test is the ice test. If you place an ice cube on a silver coin or bar, it will melt quicker than on another surface or metal due to silver's high thermal conductivity. Then we have the throwing your coin on the ground test, which I do not recommend, and there's two more advanced tests, the ultrasound test that requires expensive specialist equipment, and the acid test that will leave a mark on your item. Also, silver has a very fast reaction to bleach and it starts oxidizing immediately. If you put a small drop of bleach on your silver, it should turn black quite quickly. I'll do a more in-detail video of the various types of testing in the future, so subscribe and ring the notification bell in order not to miss that. Number 7. It's not a stack measuring contest. Don't beat yourself up over the size of your stack. Even the longest journey begins with one step. YouTube is full of videos from stackers showing off impressive stacks, but remember the words of Theodore Roosevelt. Comparison is the thief of joy. This is very true, and not just when speaking about silver or gold stacks. In our modern society, we are constantly bombarded with images of wealth and success from multimillionaires and billionaires, and it's easy to feel like you haven't achieved enough or don't own as much as the next guy. That's a recipe for a miserable life, because there will always be somebody richer, there will always be a fancier car or a bigger boat, and in the same way, there will always be a bigger stack. The only comparison you need to make is with you from a month ago, or a year ago, or a decade ago. Have you improved? That's all that matters. Be happy with what you have, strive for better of course, but not to the point where you don't appreciate the now. If you are watching this video and contemplating silver stacking, or have started already, odds are you are better off than 90% of people on this planet. Always remember that. Number 8. Buy fractional when possible. If you find fractional silver, meaning smaller than 1 ounce, at a price that is similar per gram to larger coins and rounds, always go for the smallest ones. If the premiums are considerably larger, as they usually are on smaller coins, then go for what's cheaper. But if the price is kinda the same, I would prefer smaller coins and rounds. As I've mentioned before, you want to be able to trade or barter in as small a unit as possible. If you somehow need to sell some of your silver, you can sell exactly as much as you want. Also, maybe you want to give some coins to your nephews or kids. Smaller sizes are more appropriate for presents. There's not much else to say about this point, it's just more practical. You can also divide your silver easier and hide it in multiple locations, lowering the risk of theft. Just make sure you remember where you hid it. Number 9. Silver is a long-term commitment. If you came onto the silver scene looking to make some fast money because of some bullish post or article that promised quick returns and explosions in the price, I'm going to disappoint you. I don't think there will be an explosion in the price of silver, as we've seen in the price of crypto, for example. This is a real commodity, with thousands of real applications in real life. The device you are watching this on has silver inside it. This is not a meme stock, it's a respectable and tried and tested method of storing wealth for centuries. Sure, I believe that silver is going to increase in price over time. I have no doubt about that, but I would say you need to have a horizon of at least 3 to 5 years in mind when buying silver. I would argue that there are better investments out there if you are looking for a quick way to make money. What silver offers is a high degree of safety and the potential for a reasonable increase over time as the material gets scarcer. Also, some of the coins and rounds may see appreciation in their numismatic value. But again, if you are looking for a quick buck, you're probably not gonna have a fun time. Which brings me to my last point. Number 10. Have fun. While optimizing everything is nice and all, don't forget to splurge now and then on something you enjoy. Maybe it's a Morgan, maybe a Libertad, maybe a Batman or a Star Wars ounce. I just overpaid recently on 2 coins with dinosaurs on it. To each his own. But the more you enjoy your stack and enjoy playing with it and looking at it, the bigger the chances that your newly found hobby will stand the test of time. Take your silver out from time to time and play around with it. Discover its history, its quirks. If you will find enjoyment in that, then the silver bug bit you and you'll be with us for a very long time. And if you subscribe to the channel, we'll be walking down that path together and learn from each other as we go. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one. Footage credits are in the description below, together with some Amazon links to the products I've mentioned in the video. Happy stacking, everyone!